I'm Colleen, owner and chef at Java Jack's in Rocky Harbour, Newfoundland and Labrador. And by popular request, today in our how-to series, we're going to make our famous Murphy's seafood chowder. And it's most popular in our restaurant, and I'm gonna show you how to make it. And believe it or not, it'll take you 15 minutes for make a serving of 4. It is super quick, and you need a couple of pots on the stove, and we can get started. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take 2 tablespoons of butter. And I use butter. If you have margarine at home, don't worry about it, use some margarine. It works well. We're going to melt that butter. Then we're gonna add some onions, and then we're gonna add some flour. Again, 2 tablespoons of flour. So you can get that ready, and we're gonna add that in there to create the roux. Now, in this little pot here, we're gonna cook up the vegetables. And interestingly, we're just gonna boil the vegetables because we're gonna create a little bit of a stock, and the vegetables, not too much water. Now, the vegetables I'm using in this is a carrot, about a medium carrot, a medium parsnip. I'll put that all in here. I'm gonna boil it all up together. I have a little bit of baby turnip on here, interestingly a turnip. I do not have any potato in my seafood chowder, and this is celery, about 3/4 of a cup of celery. So we're gonna turn this on, and we're gonna let that all boil up together. And this is how fast it's going to be. This recipe is one that I developed a long time ago when I first came out of university for a company called Best Seafoods. And the fish plant, we were looking to develop products for overseas markets for some residual extra fish that we had kicking around. Adding about 3/4 of a cup of onions. Onions, of course, makes everything taste better. Stir that up. Okay, and in usual format, let it sweat. Don't touch it. You can watch it, but don't touch it. We're gonna let these boil. Turn them up on high, get it going, and we'll come back. So in the pot here, you can see that we have some celery. I think I had mentioned that it's about 3/4 of a cup of celery. Look at the size of these. This is so that it will cook quickly and evenly. One medium carrot, 1 medium parsnip, everything around the same size, right? I'm trying to get them all the same size. Same thing with the baby turnips. Again, just about a handful. We want it to flavor our seafood chowder. We don't want it to be the hero of the seafood chowder. Now my onions are looking great, so I'm gonna turn down the pan. About halfway, I'm gonna add the flour in here to start. All the seafood chowders start with a bechamel sauce, and they start with a roux. So butter, and the same quantity of butter and the same quantity of flour makes a roux. So we're gonna use the water, the liquid from the vegetables, and to season our seafood chowder. And you can see that I'm mixing it up here. I'm gonna turn it down, let that cook. I do not want to develop any color in this particular roux because it's a chowder, and we expect it to be white in color. So we're gonna get some milk because we're bechamel. Once we have developed the roux, we're gonna add some milk to it, and the milk will create ourselves a bechamel sauce. Now the seafood I have ready for this is chunks of cod. Again, much bigger size than what I do have of the vegetables because they will cook down a little bit, and sometimes if you stir it too much, it'll actually disappear, so you don't want to have too much. So about 1 inch by 1 inch or 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches, the sizes. I have some baby scallops in here. Again, these will go in. They don't require a long time to cook. They will expel a little water, so we'll make our bechamel sauce a little bit thicker so that the water that expels can flavor and add to the overall sauce and chowder itself. You can add all kinds of different fish. Don't think that you have to be stuck to 1 or 2 different kinds. You can add some clams, add some mussels, add some salmon, add some halibut. some mackerel if you like. Oh, that's so wonderful. Add a little smoked paprika and you have something totally a little different. But for today, I just have some cod and some scallops. We're gonna make a wonderful seafood chowder with that. Okay, so while we're boiling the vegetables here, and you wanna check to see if they're done, I mean, the largest piece is really what you'll be after. The parsnips, of course, will always cook faster than the carrots. So if you want to make those a little bit bigger than the carrots, the turnip always takes a little bit longer than the carrots themselves. So I think I'm pretty much done here. Now what we're going to do, we are going to add the milk to our roux because this is ready to go. I'm going to turn this off. We're going to start to add all of the ingredients and assemble them together. Okay, so for this I'm going to add 2 cups of milk. I'm going to let it warm and stir it a little bit, and then I'm going to whisk it all together. For this, because I want all the vegetables, all of the ingredients all to be in here, I'm not going to strain it out. Oftentimes for our sauces, we would strain out the onions or any of the vegetables, but we're going to use it all in here to our advantage to create a wonderful, not too thick, but certainly viscous enough chowder. It'll taste great. The other thing I'm going to do too right now is I'm going to add the tarragon, because I want the tarragon is my secret weapon. It's a tablespoon, a nice heaping tablespoon of tarragon, and I want it to fuse or infuse this particular sauce. So I'm going to put that in right now, and that will flavor this up. If you've never used tarragon before, certainly give this a try in here. It's outstanding. It's going to be an amazing seafood chowder. I was saying earlier, best seafoods back in the late 80s, early 90s, was located where the Kitty Bitty Brewery is right now. And so shout out to Mr. Harvey and the Best family, Susan Best and Jamie Best and those folks there. This is certainly homage to the recipe that we developed at that time to use underutilized species and some residuals so that we could sell them overseas. So since doctored this up, and this recipe has actually been published in the Evening Telegram and in a book called The Democracy Cookbook. We've had it published there. So you can now do it at home. We're going to wait for this to thicken and boil. And then we're going to add the vegetables and the fish and let it all cook. So I have this milk in here now, creating our bechamel sauce, and infused it with the tarragon. I'm going to add all the vegetables. See, 15-minute seafood chowder, awesome stuff. Voila. Just going to stir that in. Look at that, it'll start to thicken. Okay, so that's step 1. Step 2 now is we're going to add the seafood, and that'll all cook together. We'll bring it all up to the boil. Look at that. You've got yourself a pot of seafood chowder just ready, waiting to happen here. We're going to let that kind of cook. I'm going to bring it back up to the boil. I'm not going to stir it too much because I don't want my fish to disintegrate in there, and I don't want to overcook those scallops. So as soon as that's all done, boiled up, we're going to have ourselves a wonderful seafood chowder. So I'm going to plate ourselves up some seafood chowder. I do like to put it in one of these shallow bowls so that you can see it a little bit more. Have a look at all of the wonderful seafood and ingredients that I have in here. Lots of fish, look at the scallops and the vegetables. Again, this is going to be awesome. Let me have a little taste. Wow, that's pretty good. Well, till next time, hope you enjoy the seafood chowder. I'm Colleen Hiscock. Bon appetit.